Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Which is the Moon. Week 19 is psychic attack. This is a topic that we've actually kind of touched on in other seasons, so I do encourage you to go back and take a look at some of our previous videos because we had different hosts in different seasons and different hosts have different views. What I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about what is psychic attack, how do you know if you're under psychic attack, and what can you do to protect yourself, as well as provide you with some resources for some good reading material on how to protect yourself. When you are going about in your daily life, whether you're a practitioner of the craft or not, it's always a good idea to protect yourself. And different religions have different ways of protecting themselves. You'll see that the Catholics wear like a St. Michael medal, or they may have a St. Anthony charm or a St. Jude charm or something like that that they will wear to give them spiritual protection in their day. Now, the item itself is not necessarily what carries the power. It's the image and the visualization and the belief behind it that carries the power. And the same is true for anything that we do as witches. It's not the item itself necessarily, but all of the energies that that item imbues that cast that protective spell around you. So that's something to keep in mind. But let's start at the beginning and talk about what is psychic attack. Psychic attack occurs when someone is sending something bad your way through a spiritual means. How do you know if you are under psychic attack? Well, before I get into how do you know whether it's psychic attack or not, bear in mind that this person does not have to be intentionally sending it to you. It could be intentional. There could be a case where another magical practitioner has taken some sort of vendetta or personal disliking to you, and they have decided to send something bad your way. That could take the form of a servitor. That could take the form of just a magical spell or charm. It could take the place of a curse or a hex, which could involve them having something on your property that is bad to you. Now, people such as Arwen Lynch, many of you know her, the joy seeker, the professional joy seeker. She's quoted as saying that she does not leave her hair anywhere, including at the hair salon. So I imagine her hairstylist must already know, collect the clippings. But yeah, definitely getting something personal of yours. You always want to be cautious about people that want to come into your personal space, especially if you do not know them well and they are also whoa, magical practitioners. Woo. Having the flu is affecting the brain. But be cautious about, anything that you do. For example, if you're wrapping a package, if I see that a piece of my hair has gotten caught in the tape, I'll take that tape off and I will redo it. I'm not saying that you have to wear gloves with everything that you do, but you do want to be cautious, especially when you're sending out something to somebody else who is also a magical practitioner, because you just never know who's who and who's what and what their intentions are. So why give them any opportunity to have anything of yours, anything personal? Really, all they really need is a photograph. And I do know people who are very cautious about having their photographs. Like, they don't have any personal photographs of themselves on their Facebook page. They do videos, but they don't put their face on there, that kind of thing. So where do you draw the line between being cautious and being paranoid? It's hard to say. I will say that I am very cautious about making sure that I don't leave hair or nail clippings of any kind around when I go to the nail salon. I do ask them to collect the clippings and give them back to me. They always look at me like I'm a little weird, but I am a little skeptical about that. Same thing with the hairdresser. I do the same thing. Arwen, if you're watching this video, I do the same thing. I tell my hairdresser, can you please, make sure that you collect all of my hair? Usually they just kind of collect it up, throw it away, but still, you just never know. So I always like to be a little cautious when it comes to hair and nails, anything personal of mine. But it doesn't necessarily have to be directed either. Sometimes people will just be mad at you or upset with you, or they just don't like you, and they see you and they're just kind of giving you that, what we call the ojo malo, the evil eye. So that could actually send something to you that is negative in nature. So there are various different ways that you can protect yourself against that kind of thing. When it's just in what I call incidental negativity, meaning they don't really intend to send anything bad your way per se. They're not specifically setting out to send something bad your way, but they are kind of sending something your way through the evil eye or through something like that. You can wear certain amulets and charms. I know that, um, oh gosh, I just totally blanked on the stone. It's a black stone. Oh my gosh. Jet, I know, is good for protection in that regards. There's something else that black tourmaline, sorry. Black tourmaline is very good for repelling any kind of negativity like that. You can make yourself any kind of amulet or charm that you can wear either on a ring. I have a bit of a black diamond that I find is good for reflecting any kind of negativity. Wearing any kind of metallic or reflective jewelry or clothing will help kind of reflect that back, as long as you're doing it with the intention of protecting yourself against that. I always have a tendency as well to kind of envision kind of a blue flame or a white flame around me, a white silvery flame around me in terms of protection. And I will definitely invoke that if I feel that I'm going in or will be communicating with somebody who I think may be a little on the negative side. But protecting yourself against just general negative kinds of things is vastly different than being under psychic attack. Psychic attack occurs when somebody is directly trying to send something bad your way. They're cursing you, they're hexing you, or they're otherwise trying to send some bad juju your way, send you a streak of bad luck. There are spells for that. And, I'm always cautious about sending spells like that myself, because I do believe in the property of physics where, when you drop a rock in the pond and it ripples out, some element of that ripples back to the source. Now, it's usually attenuated, but you're going to get back a taste of what you send out, a taste of your own medicine, so to speak, unless you really do some strong protections for yourself and put up some sort of barrier that's going to block that backlash. But I personally find that that's a bad use of my energy, and I prefer to do things like send extra blessings to that person, do a sweetening spell or a honey jar, something along those lines that will change the flow of energy between myself and that person for the better, just because I personally feel that that's a better use of my energy than that. Signs that you could be under a psychic attack. Now, I'm going to state this outright, and y'all can take it for what it's worth. I feel that I was under psychic attack last year from somebody. I'm not exactly sure who. There are ways to trace the energy. I had a pretty good idea who it was, but I wasn't exactly sure for certain that it was this person. And these were some things that I noticed. I was having exceptionally bad luck. Like, nothing I did helped. All of my spell work was backfiring or was ineffective. I was waking up with sores all over my body. It was the weirdest thing. It was almost like ant bites. They were actually little sores with little heads on them, and I was waking up with them all over my arms, and in fact still kind of have a scar from a couple of them. At first I thought I had ant bites, and so I was checking the bed. I was making sure it wasn't spiders. My husband, who sleeps in the bed next to me, was not waking up with any of these things. I was waking up with bruises, cuts, that sort of thing. I had noticed that the reflective discs that I put in all of my windows had turned dark. They used to be bright and shiny, and they had actually turned dark and were no longer really reflective. So I had to replace all of those. I was having horrible dreams, really bad nightmares. I was waking up at like 4:45, actually 4:44 in the morning, exactly on the dot. It started out where I started waking up at like 3:33, and then it went to 3:45, and then it went to 4 o'clock, and then it went to 4:45. Sorry, 4:44 every single day, exactly on the dot. So I knew something weird was going on. And I started putting up some more protections for myself against that. So you always have to exhaust all of the explainable ways that this could be. So, for example, when I first started getting the sores, I thought maybe there were ants in the bed. So I checked the bed. I checked all around the bed. I sprayed. We had someone come out, treat the house to make sure that it was not spiders or ants. The fact that my husband was sleeping in the same bed and not having these things was one of the things that kind of clued me in. So if somebody else is in the same boat as you and they're not waking up with these things, it's probably being directed towards you. Um, I would highly recommend cleansing all of your magical tools that you use, whether you do it with an incense or whether you actually wash it in Florida water or create a wash of your own using like rosemary and dragon's blood and you kind of add it to the water and you wash all of the tools that you can. Obviously, you can't wash your tarot cards. So how do you cleanse those? Well, you can run them through the smoke of the incense. Run the deck or run each individual card through the smoke of the incense with the intention of cleansing them, making sure that you are putting up some sort of protection around you when you're doing any kind of working. Uh, Making sure that you're cleansing your home. That was another thing I did was I did a full cleansing of my home. I created an incense out of rosemary, dragon's blood, frankincense, and myrrh, and I burnt that with some patchouli and went all through my house with all of that and cleansed all of the corners. I pushed it out the front door. I sealed my door with pentacles. You can use salt across the door frames to keep anything out. Just bear in mind that will also keep things in. So, make sure that you are doing your full cleansing. Clearly, you want to make sure that you try to make amends with anybody that you may have wronged. Because if it's coming at you because you deserve it, well, that's one thing. If it's something you've done to somebody and you're getting your backlash, then be prepared for that. So it may not necessarily be that they're attacking you, it's that you're receiving back something that you sent forward. So clearing the air with anyone that you may have bad feelings with, at least doing your part to do that, I consider part of defense against psychic attack. Some really excellent resources for this would be Christopher Penchik has a wonderful book called The Witch's Shield. And it's not a very thick book. It's about that thick. It's not super thick, but it has some fantastic ideas on how to protect yourself, chants that you can do, incantations, charms, creating yourself a spell bag or a medicine bag. If you follow kind of the Native American tradition, you can create yourself a medicine bag. You can maybe make a sigil of your magical name and put some things in there. Some herbs that are protective would be rosemary, frankincense, myrrh, dragon's blood, salapinto, sage, clearly. Um, Anything like that that you can think of. There are many more. So, check your correspondences, do what feels right to you. But you can add those things and wear it as an amulet. You may want to keep it in your car or make one to keep in your car and one to have around you at all times, keeping something like that on you. What I do is I go to the hobby store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann's, and I buy large sequins. Big sequins. You can get like 200 of them in a pack for $1.54. And I will put one of those in every single window in my home that I can reach. I have a skylight that I can't reach, so I just make sure that I put the intention there that, it should be there. Usually I'll try to kind of get it as close to that as I can. I'll even stick it on something and stick it up there. But changing it out is kind of dangerous because it's literally right over the stairwell. But something like that, I will try to make sure that I keep something reflective within all the windows to reflect back out anything that is negative. Um, Making sure that you cleanse your space on a regular basis, that you clear your air and clear your space and clear your mind before you begin any kind of magical working. That's all going to be important to protecting you against a psychic attack. It may be also the case where, like in my case, I was pretty certain that I knew who the individual was, and I enlisted the help of other witches to stop the psychic attack. One of them went to the astral plane to do some searching to see if she could locate the source of what was the problem. I mean, we're talking weird stuff like my um, office became infested with flies. That was like one of the first things I noticed was my office was infested with flies. And we're not talking little house flies. We're talking great big honking horse flies. And it started out with there were just a couple of them in my office and I killed them off. And then the next thing I know, there's more and then there's more. And it became so bad that I had to call my landlord And I even asked the person in the adjoining office to mine because we share a bathroom. Hey, have you been having this issue? And no, they weren't having the same issue, which was another reason why I knew it must be under psychic attack. So I went to my landlord and said, hey, look, can you get somebody to come in here and treat for these flies? I just simply can't even sit in here. And that combined with the sores, with the bad luck, with the ineffective magic, with everything that was going on, I knew there was something up. So I enlisted the help of another witch or two to help put up stronger barriers and to combine their magic with mine to put up a barrier. And things have eased off. Things got almost instantly better, actually. Um, but it is a matter of protections are not something you can just let down. You need to make sure that you're keeping your protections up and active at all times, just to prevent anything of this nature from going on. So again, to review, some of the signs of psychic attack, if you have any kind of an infestation, if you have any kind of that's inexplicable. I mean, we had no idea where these flies were coming from. There were no dead animals under the building. It was my office and not the adjoining office, which we have one building and it's like our offices are joined by a little bathroom. So you would think what occurred in one would occur in the other, but no, it was simply my office. Was just completely, she even said she'd never seen so many flies in one place. It was incredible. But any kind of an infestation, any kind of waking up with unexplained bruises and sores over a repeated amount of time where it's getting worse and not better. You've exhausted all the sources in terms of looking for any kind of insect bites or animals that could be causing this, any kind of allergic reaction or irritation. Make sure you haven't changed your detergent or your softener or anything like that, because sometimes that will set off allergic reactions to the skin. So making sure you haven't been exposed to anything else that may be a cause of that. Eliminating all those and still not being able to seek the source or put a stop to it, that would be a sign. Very bad luck, constant, continuing bad luck or bad things happening to you that are inexplainable or sudden or extend over a very long period of time, like a year. Waking up from bad dreams, having bad dreams, interrupted sleep, especially if you're waking up at the same time on a day-to-day basis or you're having a reoccurring dream. All of those things are things that could be part of signs that you are under a psychic attack. If you believe you're under a psychic attack, whether you are or you're not, now you've set yourself up mentally and spiritually for that. So doing any kind of a cleansing, anything that's going to help clear that air and make you feel less attacked is also something that I would recommend doing, because even if it's a placebo type effect, if you're not really under a direct psychic attack, it's going to help because it's going to ease out your fear that you are. So in any case, I no longer have the sores. I no longer have the bruises. We didn't do anything different. We didn't change our laundry detergent, didn't change our softener. You know, we did spray, but there was no signs of any infestation anyway. We couldn't find any ants, couldn't find any spiders. That didn't explain the bruising and the scratches, which have all ceased. So, you know, don't know. Seems to have worked. So make sure you keep your protections up using a kinetic square above your doors to help ease out anything. Anything you can do. There are so many things. I know that Mr. Roderick in his Wicca Another Year and a Day, the year 2 book, which is blue, it has the same cover with the sun and moon, but it's blue. He has some things in there that are more advanced in nature for clearing out your space and protecting yourself. So that may be something that you want to look into. If you've completed year 1 of the year and a day, you may want to look at book 2 and look into that. Look into Christopher Penchick's The Witch's Shield. Also, Raven Grimassi has some good ideas, and just look up psychic protections or how to protect yourself from psychic attack. So keeping those things in mind and bearing in mind some of these things. Let me know your experiences. If you feel like you're under psychic attack, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Even if you get people that tell you, oh, you're not under psychic attack, it's, you know, that's just a atopic dermatitis or something like that, because I had people telling me that and I knew it was different because I do have sensitive skin and I'm familiar with those conditions and I know that nothing had changed to bring those about. So don't let people just tell you, hey, try this, try this. If you try those things and it's not working, then just move on from that and do what you think you need to do to clear your space and protect yourself. So again, thank you for watching. I hope that you gained something from this video. I always enjoy sharing my experiences and my knowledge with you, and I love seeing your feedback. So please give us your feedback in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. Blessed be.